Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Before starting my video, if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please do, and do not forget to turn on notifications as I'm sharing every week great contents for you. Alright guys, this video is a beginning of new playlist which is in a part of a beginner roadmap, and it is going to be the last video series for that roadmap. Alright, the subject is going to be API consuming. If you watch my previous videos, which is called MVC tutorial and API tutorial, it's totally fine because we're going to use these two projects. But if you didn't watch them and if you didn't watch them as well, you can clone my repositories and you can use those projects as well. All right, let me show the projects in YouTube first. This is my YouTube channel, and if you go scroll down, ASP.NET full course playlist for beginners, if you click view, oops, I couldn't click. If you click view, you will able to see all playlists related to this roadmap, and the projects are, this is MVC project, the green one, and the dark purple one is going to be a normal API provider project. You can watch this if you need to watch them. You can watch these two videos, or if you don't want them, basically go my GitHub channel. Let's go to repositories. I'm gonna filter with a public all. Okay, these two repository is for is actually they are belong to my video series. Basically, you're going to click your Visual Studio, clone a repository, and let's start with the MVC basic first. Click the repository, click the code, and just copy that link and paste this link to the repository location. Then you can select your path, or you can use default one. Then only you need to do, just click the clone button and it's going to clone to your computer. Once you clone them all, we're going to do some amendments. All right, and also you need to use same things for API as well. Once you created your MVC tutorial project, close that one, create a new clone repository window, and do the same things for API as well. Alright, now I'm assuming you already have these two projects in your local repository. Let's close this section. Let's close them all. Now I'm going to open my MVC project first. Now we will do some settings in our project. By the way, after I finalize this project, I add some changes to add auto how can I say, auto data. Okay, if you go to readme text, this data comes with automatically two users, which is called admin and member, and these are details which is located in readme section. Right, now let's go to app settings JSON. This is my current string connection, which is old one. I changed my database settings as well. You can just create your own connection strings here. Now I'm going to use my own now, and it is going to be example for you. First of all, I'm using Docker. Okay, if you're not using Docker, you can just go your MS SQL, you can go your server settings, and you can find these your local database settings, which I did while I was creating this video series. But now I'm using Docker and I used my server Dockerized, so I'm just opening my Docker. Perfect. Alright, so I'm using, let's have a look at my containers. SQL Server for study. Let's run the server. Alright, server is run. Now the port is 1433. If you're using Docker, you can use same settings like me, but if you're using local local MS SQL server, all you need to do, go your MS SQL, right click on your server and see the server settings, and you will see the name of your database server. Okay, now I'm going to change mine local host, 1433, and if you're using MS SQL server as a locally in your computer, keep this one. But if you're using Docker like me or somewhere else, and I add some user ID and password to do that, so I'm going to delete this trusted connection and I'm going to use my credential user ID SA, which is came automatically, and the password is password 12 star. Alright, connection string all done. Now all you need to do is go to package manager console. We already have our migrations is annual. Okay, anyway, so go your package manager console and just type here update dash database, and your database will be updated accordingly because we already have our migrations here. Let's do together. I'm gonna delete my own database. I'm using the Beaver to manage my Dockerized database as well. If you would like to how I'm using that one, I can create a future playlist using Docker and this Beaver things, but it's not in our subject right now. You can use MS SQL locally how I use in our previous playlist if you would like to see. Alright, this is study localhost 1433. Let's come inside. So we have databases here, MVC project tutorial. Now I'm going to right click and delete it, close existing connections. Yes, all gone. Okay, so I have a fresh new database like you. I amend my connection string, all done. Let's go package manager console. Did I close it? Oh my god. We other windows. Where is my package manager console? Here we go. Alright, all you need to do is update database, which is written here. Let's enter. Alright, what's the problem? Okay, let me have a check. Did we type wrong? Update. Oh no. Okay, we forgot to put a letter, that's why we're getting error messages. Just to update dash database. Yep, it will work. Here we go. Our database has been hopefully created. Yep, it's created. Now if you can go from your database settings from your managers. Here we go. MVC project tutorial initialized here. Schema, DBO, tables, all tables here. You can check your user as well. View table. Let's have a look at the data. This is all data. All right. Now I'm closing. I'm not gonna do anything with my manager. All right. Let's run the application and let's see if it's working. All right. This is the the test admin at Gmail and password 12 star. Let's log in. Here we go. This is controller list, role list, user list, edit user, products, categories, everything is done. Let's close the app. Now let's switch to the, let's save it. Okay, let's switch to the where is my API? Let's close that one. Let's switch to the API. This is the API tutorial. All you need to do is do same everything. As you can see in our API project, it seems I already do changes. Let me have a look at changes. This is the API. Okay, I already did my changes. Let me see. Yep, 1433 database. Okay, I amended connection strings before the lesson. I forgot to change the previous one. All you need to do is, there is nothing to do here, just all you need to do is put your informations again, create your connection strings. Migration is already here, you don't need to do anything else. Alright, just go to your package manager console and again update database. Alright, we're waiting. Hopefully it is going to be built successfully. Alright, it's all created. Let's have a look at the beaver again. Let's close that one. Let's go all connections. This is the study database. Yep, here we go. AP project tutorial. We have our tables here: client, invoice item, and invoices. And this table comes with some data with it, but it's not important. We will manipulate them all anyway, so it's not important. Okay, so you have your API and MVC project in your local storage, local repositories. Now all we need to do is, guys, starting our consumer project, and we will keep open both project, and I'm switching to the MVC one, right? Yep, perfect, we are in MVC now. Let's close the app setting JSON and the other things. Okay, you need to keep open both projects because we're going to use both of them at the same time when it comes to testing our consumer project. Alright, before starting the new consumer project, I would like to do some explanation. Alright, let me open my screen marker. Alright, it's been a while I used this screen marker. Okay, alright, so we have an MVC project. Okay, let's type here MVC project. Okay, we have an API project. Let's say this MVC project user portal, because user is going to use this MVC project to use our system basically. And this is invoice create system, and this is an API provider. Alright guys, to use this API we're going to create an inner project in our MVC. Alright, then it is going to be called API consumer, and it is going to has own controllers and own endpoints. Basically we send a request to this API and we're going to receive a response. But our MVC, what is it doing right now? So we have a database, right? Oops. Okay, so we have a database, and this MVC sending request, and let's put this here, and this MVC project send request and receive a response for users. But this API consumer, instead of using our own database, it is going to send our API provider a request, and it has own database, a different database. Alright, as a return it's going to receive a response, then it is going to return the response to our API consumer, and our user will able to use these informations for their company or personal usage, whatever it is. Alright, I'm going to close this marker. I assume you understand what we're gonna do. Basically, in this lesson, I'm going to do some structural implementation. Next lesson will be about how can I say, starting coding. Exactly. Okay, our MVC project, as you can see, we didn't use any architecture or anything, so we have everything in just one assembly, one namespace in the tutorial basic namespace. Now you will understand why we are using architectures in our system, because it is going to be, once you add a new project, once you need to add a new API or whatever you would like to add inside, it's going to be bigger and bigger. When it comes to a day, you won't able to manage them all in just one project. So we are creating layers, we are creating objects, and we are using them all to manage all projects much more easily. And it is going to be another roadmap subject. We're going to go through with intermediate roadmap once we finalize this one, and we're going to talk about the architectures many times. And now let's continue with the basic one, and let's have some problems, let's have some struggles, and you're going to understand why we need our architectures. Okay, so we need controllers, right? So we have existing controller here. So I'm going to add a new folder, invoice API controllers. Yeah, as you can see, this is not the best practice, but we have just one place to put our controllers right now. So I just create a new folder, and I'm gonna put my all API consumer controllers in this folder. Alright, let's continue with the services. So we need services to provide our controllers. Okay, as you can see, it won't be a best practice, but this is the only place we have. Let's put here API consumer or invoice API services, or service invoice API service. Yeah, no, it's going to be services, because we're going to implement a couple of, actually it's going to be two services. Let's put another folder in it. It's going to be client services or client service. Let's add another one, invoice service. Okay, I'm gonna check my API. This is the API. Let's have a look at our services. So we have client and we have invoice services. Perfect. So we need, if we have services but we don't need any repository, because instead of using a repository reach our database, we're going to use HTTP request to our API. So I'm passing repository section, we're not gonna use it. So we need some models. Let's go back our models. So we have entity, others, validation models, free models, but we're going to have all of them again. But this time I'm gonna add, let's say, response, custom response DTO, or instead of custom, I'm gonna create a new folder which is called DTO. Do we have any DTO? No. Okay, so put the custom response DTO inside. Okay, so let's add another folder, invoice API DTO, because we need our custom response DTO. Basically, once we send our request, okay, let me open my screen marker again. Okay, this is our MVC project, and this is our API project. Once we send a request to the API, this is going to be API, not APO. Let's fix this. Okay, once we send a request to the API and we're going to a response, the response model will be exactly same what we are sending in from our API. Let's go back our API project now. Let's go back our API project. Okay, this is our API project. Let's go to our controller. For example, let's go client controller. So we have, by the way, I forgot to remove those true exceptions. Okay, this is good point. This is really good to see that. Okay, let me close the view. If you didn't watch my previous video, while we are testing our exception catch middleware, so I forgot to remove them. Just go to client controller, remove those exceptions. Now I'm removing them and I'm gonna save them all. Okay, let's continue where we left. If you have a look at our create action, let's go to create action. We are returning our custom response DTO request. So let's go to our services. Basically, we are returning custom response DTO, and this is our item DTO located here, and we have request itself comes from here. Perfect. All we need to do, add custom response DTO and the entities models as a DTO. So let's minimize it. Let's continue. So we need custom response DTO and we need API DTO. Let's add another two class, no, folder here. Client DTO, and we can change the folder naming once we start creating our classes. Now I'm just creating the structure, then invoice DTO. Alright, basically we're going to add our client and invoice DTO here, and also we have another entity invoice feature DTO. Let's have a look API. Where's the API project? Okay, let's go our models. We got clients, invoice item, and invoice DTO. Oh, invoice item, not feature, sorry, my fault. Let's fix this with invoice item DTO. Alright, so is there anything do we need to do? So we're not gonna use any mapping or anything because it came as a mapped, I assume. Let me think. Yeah, it's going to be mapped in our API. It's going to be easy. We just need our models. We need our services and we need our controllers. Validation and the other things, we're going to do them all later. Actually, the all validations comes from API section anyway, but we might need to use our own validation in our MVC side. We're going to go through step by step when it came to building our forms and validations and post request. We will go through step by step all of them. Now I'm going to finish this lesson here, guys. We created our projects, we cloned them all in our computer, and we basically amend our connection strings, did our migrations, built our structures to make ready everything for initial start. Next lesson, we're going to start our first consumer service, which is going to be client service. Hopefully you will love it, and once we finish this playlist we will move forward intermediate level straight away. Alright, thanks for watching guys. If you like the video, I will be really appreciated. It really motivates me to create new content. Take care of yourself, see you on next lesson. Bye bye.